Hello everybody, my name's Duncan Craig and I'm the founder, chief executive of Survivors Manchester. For those of you that don't know, Survivors Manchester is a third sector organisation and we support male victims of sexual abuse, rape and sexual exploitation. And I'm here by satellite. It's not really satellite, it's me just doing a YouTube video and sending it over to Claire Bagley at Health Education Northwest, but saying live by satellite makes me sound like one of those actors from Hollywood who can't get to the award ceremony to pick up their Oscar because they're off shooting their brand new film. Well, I'm off today at Jaguar Land Rover learning how to be a leader with 5 or 6 of my fellow classmates, not Richard Barnard, who is down there somewhere, wherever this video screen is. But I'm here by the medium of YouTube to talk to you a little bit about leadership. My journey to being a leader is one that has filled me with dread, filled me with frustration, and also brought me the most immense joy and happiness. Sounds really corny that, but it's true. I have a number of leadership roles currently, as well as being the Chief Exec of Survivors Manchester. I also have a national role with the National Rape Working Group at the New Scotland Yard, and it's our job to look at how rape is investigated, it's how the law around rape, is it fit for purpose, and a number of other things as well. I'm currently the chair of Greater Manchester Campaign Against Sexual Exploitation, which was a group that was formed out of Anne Coffey MP's report into the Real Voices, which was about looking at what happens post Rochdale. And I'm also involved in a number of the national inquiries, both with the Children's Commissioner and with the National Inquiry itself into child abuse. I want to kind of tell you a few things really about my journey as a leader, and I suppose it begins with the journey that I'm on now. How the hell did I end up running an organisation? Aren't I great? The two things that kind of seem to just clash for me, on one hand thinking I'm absolutely amazing and I'm full of my ego, and on the other hand being this really scared boy wondering what the heck am I meant to be doing, sat heading up an organisation with responsibility for people, staff members and for clients as well. And so the journey for me really to becoming the leader that I want to be has started with a course that has been kindly funded by Health Education Northwest, leading transformational culture change, and there's a number of things that I've picked up, a number of skills that I've learned that I'd like to share with you for the next few minutes. The first thing is, if you ever set homework for a course, make sure you do it well in advance of the course and not 10 minutes sat in the coffee shop just outside of your classroom reading one of the papers. Not that I did, just in case any of my course leaders are sat in the audience now listening. But when I read a paper that was sent to us by John P. Cotter, it was called What Do Leaders Really Do? And it just blew my mind. It made me realise that what I had been doing wasn't leadership, it was management, and it was bad management, if I'm honest. It made me realise that actually leadership and management are both really important, but the two things need to coexist because they're different. Both of them are necessary for success. Both of them are necessary to ensure that an organisation runs smoothly. But I was managing and not doing a very good job of that. The Cotter paper made one statement that really stuck with me. An army is led into battle, it's not managed. And I find myself in the third sector, as I suppose many people in the third sector do, being in battle with many different people to have our voices heard. And I wanted my voice to be heard because I want my issue the issue that I deal with. I wanted that issue to be priority for lots of people, but I think I might have been going about it the wrong way. Just before we did the course, we had to fill in a questionnaire, and as a therapist, I'm a qualified psychotherapist, I was really aware of psychometric testing. I knew it was going to give me my strengths and my weaknesses, and when I opened the book and I saw there was my strengths and there was my risks, I began to start thinking, I think I might like this course. I want to share 2 of my risks with you today. The first one is that the report said that my manner can be a bit distant or cool at times, which could affect my ability to keep everyone involved and engaged, especially if I tend to focus on building relationships with relatively small groups. I read that out to the team that I work with, who, after about 10 minutes of falling about the floor laughing, began to compose themselves and told me, yeah, it's true. There's times when I have been so focused on what I wanted to do that I've left people out, that people have felt really disengaged. And I suppose it made me think about the times when managers that I've worked under have left me feeling disengaged and actually quite isolated. That's the last thing I wanted to do. Another risk was that my forceful and dominant style may prevent me from giving others sufficient opportunity to have their say, even when I recognise the need to involve them in plans and decisions. This really is a risk. It's something that I'm aware of. It's something that actually sometimes I realise I have picked up from risky managers. When I say risky, I actually just mean bad. My word is God. I can remember one of my managers saying that once to me, and I guess I've picked that up as well. I founded the organisation and therefore I should know everything. It's not true. And to believe this and to buy into this actually is a huge risk. It's a huge risk to my welfare, to the welfare of the organisation, and to the welfare of staff, which all have a huge impact on the welfare of the client. Surely it makes sense. I read this out and there was a bit of a silence, and people began to speak and say, yeah, sometimes we feel like we've got stuff to say, but we don't know whether we can say it. I had to really look at myself. I had to take a hard look at myself and decide, did I want to be a bad manager, or did I want to be a healthy leader? I want to be a healthy leader. I want to do everything that I possibly can to make sure that my organisation and that the workforce and me are all healthy together. I need to align. I need to align everybody. I need to make sure that everybody's facing the right direction. And if people aren't, I need to understand why. One of the other elements of the course that we've really learnt about was Stephen Covey. Stephen Covey's work around the 7 habits of highly effective people, which I know Richard's going to speak about, but I just want to pick up on one of them. Seek first to understand and then be understood. As a therapist, I hope that I do this all the time anyway with clients. I hope that I seek first to understand the client and then enable the client to understand himself or herself and me. It's a skill that I've spent years honing, so why aren't I using it in my organisation? Why aren't I using it with the staff? Reading Covey's paper just blew my mind again, and it's now plastered. The 7 habits are plastered on the walls in my office, in our office, the office that I cohabit with my fellow workers and my team, a team that I'm really proud to lead. Seeking first to understand to then be understood enables me to, I suppose in a way, remember the leaders that have caused me the most difficulties. I just do the opposite. I think about what would they do and do the opposite. Leadership for me is about ensuring the organisation stays healthy, to make sure that I stay healthy and that the workforce stays healthy. I want to be a healthy leader, not a crap manager. The course I'm currently on is teaching me about leadership. It's making me realise certain things. It's making me think about certain things and reflect on certain things. It's making me think about what can I influence. We learned about this circle of influence, what's in my circle of influence and what's on the outside. I do the same thing now and try and pass on this information to my team. And I ask them, what can we influence and what can't we? What's out of our circle of influence? I think about the decisions that the organisation has to make. What decisions do I have to make? What decisions do I have to make with others? And what decisions do I have to allow people to make for themselves? The decision tree, an amazing skill that I think I'm working really hard to develop, but I think is going to be probably one of the core tools in my leadership toolbox. And that's thanks to the course. I never knew anything about this before, but the course is teaching me these new skills. And I have to go back to seek first to understand and then be understood. It's the thing that I want on my tombstone. When someone's reading out my eulogy, I want them to say that Duncan always tried to seek first to understand and then be understood. My team would say it's probably one of the most important parts of my new leadership style, because they get to explain, they get to understand. They also get to understand why sometimes the decisions that we have to make might feel like they're not in the best interests, but they are, because we have to have a shared understanding. It's really important that for me, the leader, a leader within psychological professionals, a leader within psychological professionals dealing with such horrible issues as we have to deal with, that I stay healthy, the organisation stays healthy, and the workforce stays healthy. We all need to seek first to understand and then be understood. Thank you for listening.